Did you happen to buy the top of the uranium? Or did you catch this epic rally to the upside? Uranium is now going through a bit of a distribution phase. This could be a very large sell off over the next couple weeks, or it could just be a technical pullback before we march to higher price. Let's jump into the technical picture to see what we can deduce from the daily and weekly chart. So, since the last 4 sessions, uranium has put in this daily topping tail after a massive gap up. Whenever stocks gap up into new all-time high territories, they typically do go through this distribution phase, and they often like to sweep this gap up liquidity. There's a lot of people that ended up gapping up, chasing this market higher. There's even a lot of people that chased off of this daily chart gap up, trying to press it higher and higher. And if you chased, you're now getting punished slightly to the downside. So this is an important lesson as to how dangerous gap ups at all-time highs can be. It's a very strong technical probability that you're going to see a lot of distribution and sell side pressure. Market makers love to sell into gap ups. The old saying, gap and crack, is something that I have traded successfully in my live stream with members, as well as myself, across many different sectors, stocks, indices. It is a very famous saying on Wall Street. So nevertheless, what is likely going to happen here? Well, first things foremost, if we look at the weekly chart, I think it's very important to note that uranium has hit this massive, and I mean massive, weekly parallel channel. Pivot low going all the way back to 2020 cycle low. Pivot high going to your 2021 cycle high. Major pivot low here in 2025. And just look, this rally has only happened since April. And now we're trading into June. So April, the first week of April, and now we're heading into the midweek of June, kind of the tail end of June here. And uranium has had an epic surge to the upside, rallying just in a short span, almost doubling in price. So one can easily say with confidence, this is likely a very, very just a strong technical pullback in the grand scheme of things. Uranium is still in a very strong uptrend. You still have a lot of strong support zones. Obviously, the big one that everyone's watching and looking to get long is this double pivot top here. If uranium retested this $34 area, I do expect a bounce. Now, the question is, a lot of people are eyeing up this level to go long. Is that going to happen, or are they going to bounce it? I think the thing that we need to watch for is if uranium bounces before this technical $34 level, do we put in a lower high? If uranium puts in a lower high, then we could easily on the next fall slice through this $34 level. So if uranium were to fall, and I would love for uranium to fall over the next, say, week or two into this $34 level with minimal consolidation, because it does give us an area of opportunity to go long. Even if you breach that $34 level, you have a nice key zone here that we can trade. But look what uranium's back testing today, simply your 7-day moving average. Okay, you've ridden the 7-day moving average in yellow up here to the high side for a number of weeks. The one thing I don't like about the daily chart is you have this very, very bad negative divergence, which means on the RSI, which means you're putting in lower highs on the RSI, but higher highs in technical price action. That is typically a little bit bearish. Now, the positives that I can say about uranium is that you don't have a weekly bearish divergence yet. So just like we put in this kind of the cycle high here on the weekly RSI back in 2023, uranium ended up having a strong, multi-week, 3-week pullback back into the 7-week moving average, which is all the way down here. It's still rising. You went through the cycle pullback, but notice how uranium, after that first initial high spike on the RSI, it ended up still grinding higher for the coming sessions. So we could still potentially be testing a higher price on the weekly chart, but we just need to shake out some potential bulls on the lower time frame. So uranium right now is still a very hot sector, hot commodity, and I do expect there is going to be an epic bounce. If we look at some of the names like SMR, that's been going through a nasty, nasty weekly topping tail here. Not really at a buy level yet. If you look at OKLO, that's also put in a nasty weekly topping tail on this chart here, closing back inside of this previous high. So OKLO looks a little bit weaker in the grand scheme of things than comparison to SMR, because SMR is still holding that main pivot high from November, as compared to OKLO is trading back inside of that previous weekly high in February. So I do like uranium on the long side after we hit some key technical levels. If we throw up a Fibonacci retrace tool all the way from this low to this high, you can see we're not even at the first fib level. That's at 34.69. If you wanted to be aggressive and use the Fibonacci tool from this epic bullish gap up zone, you can now see that we're at your first Fibonacci retrace level, but I would be more inclined to wait for that $34 level, or at the very minimum, if natural or if uranium were to fall sharply, you have that daily 20 moving average, which is still quite a ways lower, that could act as support. So I'm still waiting on the sidelines, but I am looking for an entry in terms of a technical bounce to get long this specific commodity. Please give this video a like down below, and we'll see you on the charts a little bit later.